Sören var med barn. Allt som publiken säger kommer också på band.
Oh shit.
Alltså det streamas visst ut.
Det streamas ja. Det är live news.
Och mycket
Worldwide. Så runt om i världen så bäckar det sig nu miljoner. Åter miljoner.
Det finns inga band nu för tiden, allt går in i computern.
Ja, computern direkt över.
Jag säger fortfarande när man jobbar, ska vi sätta det på band, men det finns inga band.
Det finns inga band. Okej, helt kort. Vi har här ett gäng med det här. Jag måste säga tyvärr nästan det är gubbar. Två damer också.
Ja, vi tackar nej.
Lite damer tackar nej. Ja. Men det här gänget här är desto intressantare. Och innan vi går vidare så tänkte jag be helt snabbt, alltså bara på 30 sekunder berätta vem ni är.
Får vi tala svenska?
We can talk English, Finnish, Swedish, whatever, but I think English is the language that we have in common.
Yeah.
So when I know what I said, I repeat in English for Sven. Everything that is said goes worldwide. Also the audience. So take care.
I had this feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
It's already
gone, yeah. Before I tell more, we could make a very, very short 30-second each presentation of who we are.
Begin with the ladies.
Beginning with the ladies.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, hop!
And the two.
I'm Terhi Suorlahti. I'm an actress and I'm also running a music theater company or ensemble in Helsinki called Kuriton Company.
My name is Johanna Freundlich. I'm a Helsinki-based freelance director, stage director, mostly theater, also opera and musical theater. That was less than 30 minutes.
I'm Sven Beyer. I'm the artistic leader of a group called Phase 7 from Berlin, Phase 7 in German. And I am personally a choreographer and stage director, and we are focused on bringing performing arts together with technology, and in the last years with a strong focus on music theater as well. So we are doing also some opera stuff, but also very big productions like the Capital of Culture in Umeå, what was the opening ceremony. It was very close to here, I realized now, just on the opposite side. So watch our website.
All right. I'm Dick Kidman. I'm an actor. Sometimes I direct a little, but I think the main reason why I'm here, I'm in the group, what do you call it?
Steering group.
Steering group, yes. And especially because I recently left my job as professor in the Theater Academy, and we even took part in the one pilot project belonging to our bachelor program. Yeah.
Okay. I'm Wilhelm Carlsson. I'm from Stockholm. I'm a theater and opera director since many years, as I'm a gubbe. And therefore I'm also at the moment professor at the University College of Opera in Stockholm. I'm professor of the performing, not musical professor, but the stage professor.
My name is Georg Malvius. I'm a theater director, opera musicals, and I've been founder of the education Artisten in Stockholm for musical actors, also in Munich at Beyer Theater Academy, founder of the education as such, and here in Jakobstad, a founder of International Music Theater Education.
Hi, I'm Samuel Harjanne. I'm a freelance theater director and an actor, originally from Helsinki, nowadays living in London and Copenhagen. Reason why I'm here is most likely the love for commercial musical theater and reflecting what's happening in the UK and in the international markets of musical theater, and yeah.
I'm Niklas Rosström, and I think I can also call me a gubbe, because I turned 50 in December, so I'm a semi-gubbe. I have been working with different culture projects for almost 30 years, mostly stage entertainment, music, musicals, everything, and I love everything, and I'm very open-minded to everything. So,
A lover.
a lover.
Okay, I'm Erik Sören, also one of these old farts nowadays, more and more. And I'm here because I'm the artistic director of this festival. For my other professions, I'm a theater and opera director. I have also been leading festivals. I hope that we today can touch the interesting, let's say, I wouldn't call them taboos, but the things that in these kind of discussions are often kind of avoided in the name of consensus. We are kind of brave people here, and we are not afraid of kind of saying what we think, and we also know that no harm will come out of anything said here. So it would be, interesting to kind of to touch kind of also the delicate and a bit kind of let's say, delicate issues around the concept and field of music theater. You will all have a 5-minute kind of, I hope, most very edgy moment when you can give us your keynote. I will very shortly kind of tell the background for why we have wanted to put up this discussion here, and also actually the festival. There are basically two trends. Speaking of new music theater, which is the kind of subject here, of course there are three words that as such are ambiguous, like new. What's new in life? What's new in theater? What's new in art? The concept of new, and then we have the concept of music. Is this music? Is what you can hear with modern music. Something that doesn't go into the concept of what music is supposed to be. Is this theater? Is something that we hear even more often. Often by people that are disappointed by what they see on stage and kind of cannot define it as belonging to responding to their what they think theater should be. And then if you put these words together to new music theater, it becomes even more ambiguous, and it can mean many things. I'm sure much of what we are speaking here today will be kind of go back to this kind of using the same word in different meanings. Just a small example: music theater in the Anglo-American word means musical, quite kind of clearly, but Musikteater på svenska means something else also, and actually not Musikal very much. So there's already a kind of starting point. This for the concepts. Then we can see it today with the young generation. We have seen it here yesterday, and we'll see it tomorrow. We had 4 very, very interesting examples of what music theater can be today. We see this kind of overstepping of the genres and traditional kind of paths of art making. For the young generation, it doesn't matter if it's this or that or that. They kind of, in a way, the tradition as such is not very interesting. The history as such is not very interesting. The story as such might not be very interesting. But of course, the archetypes of the collective unconscious that step out as soon as we start we open up to our inner world. They are of course there. So we see something that is not opera, is not musical, is not this, is not that, but something else. So we see, this is the one trend, we see kind of an amorph situation where the former genres, the very neat kind of packages and neat kind of, well, genres that could be also in a way judged or arvostettu.
Respected.
Respected in reference to the genre. They are not there anymore. At the same time, we see as the resources, economical resources, get less and less, we see kind of, let's say, defense around different kind of former genres. Those who are for opera, they very much speak as opera, why opera is needed. Those who are for this kind of avant-garde things are often free groups. They want something that they don't have resource-wise and so forth. So these two trends are what I can see. On the other hand, we close down, and this is on the kind of productional side, resource side. On the other hand, we open up, and this is on the aesthetic and artistic side. So not more of this now. We start the discussion, so to say. I try to be a kind of moderator. I might cut down the speeches to keep it dynamic. We are all people that love to hear our own voices. Okay, so we start, and the word is free. Who's first? I don't decide. You decide yourself. Dick.
Okay. I think I take it briefly in English before. The question I raised yesterday, I will come back to now. And that's, of course, seeing these fantastic showcases with these fantastic
you have 5 minutes, not more.
Skills. Yes. Skills made me think about how can we take advantage of the creative resources from the stage acting. And I think this is important because, however, I didn't see any actor in these showcases. That must have something, there must be some reason. And of course, I, with all respect of this result, I could say I saw some lack of using the text, directions, building up conflicts with situation between human beings, analyzing, and so on and so on. Things that in the acting education are naturally a part of the human body as an instrument. This is in English. Alltså, vad jag menar är att vi har en enorm tradition av skådespelararbete, skådespelarutbildning, faktiskt den enda kanske i scenkonst på det finlandssvenska marknaden. Och då tycker jag ju förstås att varför kan man, vad beror det på? Kan det bero på att musiken i sig, provokation, är så matematiskt strukturell och så klar att avgöra vad som är rätt och vad som är fel, och att man därför lätt hamnar på sidan om som en luddig skådespelare som kan allt och intet. Så att igår såg vi ju dramatiker, vi såg textförfattare, vi såg instrumentalister, musiker, sångare, dansare, också sjungande och dansande skådespelare. Men videokonstnärer, vi såg allt, men vi såg inte så att säga den traditionella skådespelaren. Och det här har ingenting att göra med åt helvete med traditionell scenkonst. Men ändå om vi tänker att vi bygger en ny idé om vad musikteater är, så oroar det mig och bekymrar det mig om det är så att det automatiskt, som inom musikaltraditionen, där det är så att först ska man kunna sjunga, sen ska man kunna dansa och sen är det bra om man också kan agera lite på scen, vilket man ofta inte kan. Och därför så tycker jag att när vi nu är on the threshold of the new Musikteater, så skulle det ju vara för jävligt om vi exkluderar scenskådespelaren i priori. Och om vi gör det så skulle jag bara vilja veta varför. Jag tänker inte säga mer.
Okej, jag kommenterar. Vi tar inte det här we don't take these keynotes in directly after each other. We open up for a discussion between us. So my first, as you say, that these guys that have these musical skills, de kan inte skådespela. My counter question is, if we didn't have any actors here, might the reason be that they don't know how to sing? They don't fit the note. They don't find a kind of pitch.
Rapid answer, Eric. For example, quite good actor as John Malkovich goes around the world with the opera, using his instrument, his skills, not singing, not playing, right. but this combination I'm talking about. Can a no-singing, dancing actor have some part in the new musical theater?
The answer is naturally yes, but now you're speaking about things we haven't seen.
Yes, some of
so
them.
it's a little bit unfair. It's
but
a little unfair for some of us who haven't been here yesterday.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I saw them yesterday, and we have actors here, Dick. There are musical actors.
Yes, musical actors, with all respect. With
Yeah.
all respect.
Sorry.
Okay, maybe I wasn't aware of that, sorry.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, then we are back at the question. I give you a very. We are back at the question. I mean, what's acting? Does needs acting to look in some certain way to be kind of considered to be acting, or is that kind of? We also saw a choice of performing yesterday, where there was deliberately no acting, only actions.
But Eric, what I said yesterday, it's natural that we take from dance and music, we take the roots, we go from the beginning, from the classical music, from the classical ballet to the contemporary dance. Why should we leave out the tradition of acting?
I object here.
Sorry.
Georg
was first.
I was first to object. Yeah. You know, I think that it's very dangerous for the discussion to say that musical theater doesn't include actors, or at least musicals. Because musicals is everything from Fiddle on the Roof, which can be played by an actor, to things which are very close to the opera, like Phantom of the Opera or Miserable. And it's a huge spectrum where a lot of actors have their place, even if they are not good singers. That's my first point. My second point is, naturally, in the moment you do musicals, you must act well, you must sing well, and move well. So that excludes some people who cannot do that. I don't know anything about what you saw yesterday.
Okay, Wilhelm.
I object because to be a singer, performing singer, is to have a kind of excellent skill, especially if you're an opera singer. So it means that it's not comparable. I agree in one sense that I think that if opera and music theater is going to develop, it has to be through the performer. If you look at theater tradition, if in opera tradition, music theater tradition, it changes with the way of performing. It's the actor's work that changes theater. Of course, you can say that we open up the big stages. You use technology. You use space in another way. But basically, what is transforming theater and music theater and opera is the way is the actor, the performer on stage. But that doesn't mean that to change music theater, we cannot, say, oh, let's bring some actors in, because that is going beside the skill. It's a very special skill to be able to project feelings and thoughts through your voice. And that's the excellence of an opera singer, and it can never be replaced by an actor. Of course, an actor will say to an opera singer, they are not acting as we do, they are not as good as we are, but they are doing something else. They are acting and they are projecting a lot of emotion and thought into the voice, which demands a special language, a special body control. It's a game of excellence. So I don't think this is actually what I was going to, because I worry a lot about opera. I worry a lot about music theater as such, because we are mainly kidnapped by the big houses. We are presented in a kind of circumstances that we don't. I think we can agree, among directors, that if we come into like a 19th century theater or kind of institutional space, we have problems. We have to fight the space. We have to fight the circumstances, the production circumstances, the space circumstances. It's something organized. It's something institutional that is contradictory to the work that we try to do. So I think opera can be totally disgusting from this point of view, as a kidnapped kind of art, where people are gathering in the beautiful red velvet saloons, looking at something happening on stage, and then gathering the singers afterwards for a glass of champagne, like we have now. And they, it's not in the Scandinavian countries. It's under control, but in other countries, like in Germany or Italy, it's. So this is only 3 minutes.
This is okay.
So
Swedish time.
Yeah. So what I would like to say is that we have to bring up to be able to survive opera music theater. We have to something radical have to change. We have to leave the big house. We have to leave the institution. We have to put a lot of effort into the performing, to the performance, and start from there and build something new for the future. We have to appear in other circumstances, because we are getting more and more gubbe, old men.
Yeah.
It's like an old man.
And the audience get more and more old later.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Just a short.
I think you were first. Just a short.
I can just give it short.
You will have your longer speech later. Right?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. My heart is pumping because this is such a passionate issue. But it is a completely different skill set you need when you do music theater. That's why it's music theater. That's why it's a theater. So there's something adding into theater. So you need to sing and dance, as these guys said, and you need to be able to channel emotions through these crafts. And what we are lacking here in Scandinavia quite a lot, well, not maybe Scandinavia, Finland, let's narrow it down to Finland.
That's good.
Yes, because Sweden is so much more ahead.
Yes.
There is, no, but that's true, so much more. The tradition of acting through song, there is no education for that in Finland. There is no one teaching how you channel your emotions through music, at least not in the theater school. I don't know about the opera education in Sibelius Academy. But that skill set is very important, because it all comes down to acting, as Dick said. The acting is the most important thing, because that is the only vessel of storytelling.
Okay. I will.
I had short.
Terhi was first.
Okay.
And then Georg. And then
Okay.
But first is me.
Good back.
I just want to kind of, as far as I see, you very much speak from the point of view of understanding the concept of music theater as musical.
Well, that's one part.
Yeah, because I mean, when we speak of what we call new music theater here, it's kind of comparable to new circus, as I mean, in the same relation. It's a kind of different thinking, and for a performer, it's not only about skills, like singing, dancing, acting. It's also about thinking. Dramaturgical thinking, stage thinking, aesthetical kind of world view, and this is a very important thing if we really want to renew things, because otherwise we have this let's say we have this jumping over the stick, what do you call it?
Yeah. But thinking is another thing. If you only think, no one's going to see that. You need to execute that with skills.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, easily if you don't have thinking, it's very hard for you to create something new from the inside. You follow the paths. And then I just want to. Might the problem be the if you look, we didn't have any actors? Is the problem that of new music theater or of training? Or training. I mean, this is the question. I was myself professor also, so we can come back to it. Terhi was first.
I want to say something about when I listen to the conversation. It gives me the impression that you have very strong vision about music theatre, that it means that you need to act well, you need to dance well, and you need to move well. If I take example of contemporary theatre performance, for example, 5 handicapped persons, and they are doing dance performance, and they are singing, and they are acting. So how are we evaluating what means skills in music theatre? Is it some kind of like a common level of what we without words we agree that this is the skill that you need to have? And I was, when I was younger, 10 years ago, when I started the company, which can call like really avant-garde company first, I was really fascist, I think, towards the skills that I was thinking that yes, because I'm an actress, I need to really dance well, I need to really talk well, I need to be perfect in everything. And more I'm getting older, more I'm interested in the mistakes and the human beings who are imperfect, the bodies which are not perfect bodies, which are not formulated. And also I think I agree in this meaning a lot, Erik, that for me the question is not performer. We have also in Finland, we start to have so good actors who can sing really, really well already. Yes. I think the question is that we are missing the good dramaturgy and good mise en scène, yes, directing. So this is the thing which we have also problem in theatre. We don't have enough strong thinking in music theatre.
Okay, first
it was me.
Georg.
Yeah, you get applause, that's nice. You know, we are speaking about so many different things in the same time. So I absolutely, it's very interesting the work you are doing, and it's very special, with special skills. These people will give something very, very special to the audience.
I'm not working with handicaps.
No, I mean, okay,
I don't know, maybe I'm handicapped somehow. I don't know, maybe I am.
Yeah, but I believe that we have a theater in Sweden only with handicaps, and we have actually 2, one with mental handicaps people, and it's a fantastic feeling to see what they are doing. They are doing musicals too. But what I was just try to comment on Ville and Dick. Naturally, that acting skills are very important. In the moment you do one big, well-known musical, if you don't have the acting skill, if you only are a singer, then it will look very, very bad. So no one is saying that you don't need acting skills in musical. Nobody, at least not me. And also in opera.
Yeah. Of course. Okay, I want to comment. My impression is that if you have a good singer, this good singer is also a good actor.
What did you say? A good singer is also a good actor?
I haven't seen no good singers that wouldn't be good performers.
Oh, really? I have.
I haven't. I mean,
several.
Well, I have seen many actors that are not good singers, and I mean that's also true. Very many good actors that are not good singers, even are not musical in that sense.
Yeah.
But if speaking of really good singers, this is a kind of bodily thing. When you sing, you need to be there. You need to have this expressiveness in the voice, and for me it's totally possible to have expressiveness in the voice and not in the rest of the body. So in that sense, I think, I mean, and I come back now to kind of training, because I mean this training of the voice, that training of the kind of musicality, training of the kind of parameters of music might, if well used, be very usable also in speech theater, drama. Sorry, sorry. I need to. You have been. Who was first?
I can. I just want to comment about this. As director of new music theater showcase, what I am interested in. This is just my personal opinion. But like what you talked about, like where is the actors and all the skills that the performer has to have, and you need to be excellent in everything. What I personally am interested in, a kind of new way of being which includes everything, but you don't need to kind of, we're not interested of categorizing people and performers. Oh, we, now I said we are, I don't know, I'm not interested in like what's the education of the opera singer, or do we have the dancers or the actors or whatever people with whatever background in our piece, but it's just learning this new way of being present at stage. And I'm doing the same thing with all the people in my team, no matter if she or he is a cellist or a dancer or actor. I'm interested of the similar new kind of way of being.
Okay, thank you. Tavi, you have your turn. I just here I see this kind of generation shift, because in the olden times and with the way we older persons approach performing arts, we easily think of these different genres of different sport branches. They are kind of, we have running, we have jumping, we have this and that, and then you need to kind of be the best in jumping. Then you need to be the
May
best.
I say my small
in
replique
running.
before your turn?
But I mean,
because I don't totally agree. I agree with Terhi when she. I would like to put it on the other way. Maybe we have to throw out all this idea of skills, and that's why you should invite more actors in the group of making new music theater.
Yeah, I don't like. It's just a coincidence, for example, that in our group we didn't have any actor-based people.
No.
But I definitely do not want to exclude one part away. Like I can work with kind of normal people or actors or singers.
Yeah,
or
I think
whatever.
that's kind of, it's typical for the young generation. You work with people without any kind of performance skills.
Yeah.
And then you work with any people and try to find what this person exactly can do in this. This is one kind of way of thinking. Tavi.
And there's relating to all this, a very common concept in talking about art is a concept of level, which is, at least for me and my circle, not very important. Or it's actually a pretty disgusting word, which gets used a lot. There's no, what I think there's no way to measure a level of artistic experience. And I think the merits of an art piece can only be judged by the experience it causes to the audience. There's no level which has metrics, which somehow the level of a performer gets somehow compared to some universal ideal or something. We don't care about that.
Okay, good. You want to say something?
No, just I agree totally. But to the question about skills, I would like to say to Tavi that what you did yesterday, what you didn't see, but Dick and I saw.
We haven't seen that.
But what Dick and I saw, I would not like to hear an actor in that part that you did yesterday. That you need some skills to do it. That was written in the music, and I'm sorry, Dick, but you wouldn't have done it.
No, I mean, here again, legal skills. It's not the same thing.
Yes.
What's crucial here is to kind of, Tavi has certain skills, and when Tavi goes on stage with a good director and a good piece, Tavi's skills are kind of presented in the way Tavi's skills are presented in the way.
That's true.
If with somebody else, a handicapped person, whatever, there are different skills, and they, with a good director, good thinking, they are presented in the way. So in that sense, I mean, skills legal.
But you can entirely, yeah.
All right. So, okay, we now, I think... Sorry.
No, just a short comment. I mean, I do think that, I'm sure we'll agree, but that acting is tremendously technical, skilled, even if it's not including music. I mean, we're now talking as if it's just something that you just wing, and it doesn't have sort of the same sort of technical requirements. Maybe not the same kind, but it has a lot of requirements going up and repeating I don't have to repeat them here, but I having worked a lot with actors in the non-music theatre, I would like to also point out that I think it's extremely technical also.
Okay, Sven has a, but I just want to, can you climb on stage without kind of the presence of the muses? I mean, defining music also. I mean, a good non-musical theatre performance with an actor is also musical in a way.
Yes, of course.
So
yes.
that kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I just need to try Sven and then who? Somebody. Niklas, and then yeah. Okay. But Sven first.
I just wanted to add that for me it's more a question of concept. So for some concept I might need a very, very skilled actor. And when you watch, for instance, Rimini Protocol, you might know it's a German acting group, so to say.
How many have seen this group?
Maybe I just reality theater. So they, for instance, they invited 4 muezzins from Egypt. So they were not skilled actors at all, so they were muezzins from a very traditional and a very religious background, and they were talking about their life. And it was a very successful, I'm not sure if it's still running.
But the people putting the performance together were professionals, right? Or were they?
The directors are very professional, and they have a scenograph and whatever is necessary. So, but the actors, so to say, were very unprofessional. And I see many pieces nowadays using this concept. And so it's proved already that it's not necessary to be successful to have skilled actors.
But somebody is skilled. I mean, Fellini was using amateur actors, but he was very skilled. So
yes, that's right.
If Fellini hadn't directed before, then it would have looked different.
That's exactly what I want to say. It's a question of concept.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody having a concept. And of course, in opera, you cannot sing an opera without having a very long-lasting except you are a natural talent education. So again, it's a question of concept. And the next thought I want to add is that we saw already a big development in because we are in this age. I would say we saw already, because when I remember my first time in Kirov Theater in Russia, there was still a teaching of positions. You have to sing this tenor aria because you are the lover. And it was the case that somebody went to the front of the stage, did the aria, and went back, and the applause was there. So
they do it still.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. But we saw a lot of education movements, I would say. I grew up with classical ballet, and then there was the modern dance. Modern dance today, I see so many dancers, I would say they are not dancers at all, but they are very successful and they can touch me. So when I watch these pieces, they can touch me. So again, I would say it's a question of concept, but I would not agree that the skills are going less. I think they are going higher because competition is stronger, and also this multiplication, the factor, because we are running out of the temples, the Stadttheater and opera houses. The young crowds, they don't give a shit because, first of all, they have no access, what is a big problem. And second thing is they are not interested in this in front of stage. So I want to just simply say there's a lot of hope already, what I see.
Okay, thank you. Was this your kind of speech, or was it a kind of...
No.
No? That's okay, so your speech comes.
Niklas.
Yeah, but if you have a comment to him, then you can do it, because I'm starting from scratch.
Oh, you're taking for a long one.
Yes.
You start with a long one. Yes.
3, 4, 5 minutes!
I want to comment as well. So.
Okay.
So,
Short!
Two
Yes.
comments, and then Niklas long one.
Yes.
I totally agree with you. But what I'm not happy hearing is that you say that the new way of being is much more important as education. That's a kind of philosophy which is totally unacceptable for me. I think as an education, it's a very important part of development. In the moment you are going to a theater school, or you're going to the musical school, or whatever, or the opera school, then you learn a lot of things which makes you much better as a performer. I got moved by amateurs a lot. I mean, the scene in Fellini's Amarcord when the big ladies is coming in, that moves me to tears. She's amateur, totally amateur. But that's not the point of my discussion or my opinion. My point is that education is it shouldn't be put on the side and say that our way of being is much more important as such.
Of course, I'm not, if I can answer.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not saying that the education is not important, but what I would like to see more, or what I would say that we are interested in, is the collaboration. Like we are not thinking in boxes that we have now in our educational system. That we have of course, you need to gain and learn the certain kind of level of skills to be able to be professional at some field.
Thank you.
But of course, I'm not saying that that's not the case. Yeah, but what would be interesting is the more collaborative way of work also inside the education. Because well, we have this taideyliopisto now in Finland, but it's a really nice idea. It's a really nice idea, but nothing is happening. There is all this kind of sketch and ideas of collaboration between these three academies, but it's not happening. It's totally impossible to try to do anything from academic to another.
It's locked in the academic structure.
Yes. Okay,
it's
thank
locked
you.
in the academic structure.
Thank you, Wilhelm. We need to keep some. You got a short one.
I tried.
And then Heikki.
I have time. My flight is tomorrow night. So.
Yeah. the concept is a good word because it's the skill set and what I'm looking for as a director depends on what I'm doing. So obviously I look for the persons I need for that kind of or what I feel I need for that kind of a show. And I think all this comes down to the responsibility of a director. Because it's our responsibility to find the best from the actors and facilitate their acting if it's lacking. It's all about our craft. That's not very much discussed here in the country and not educated very much as well. I would be a bad director if I wouldn't do that. About the skill sets, I met an actor from Kenya, a professional actor from Kenya, and in their school. You are a good actor when you can do 200 facial expressions. That's the level of being a professional actor. And in our countries it is a bit different. But you do, I mean, when you do a musical theater show, for example, like AT show, let's say Phantom of the Opera, you need a certain skill set. You can't be only an actor when you play Phantom. You need skill set that is set on the script. If you do a musical theater show where you experience things and try to develop something new, then you can have whatever skills that you want and what you want to facilitate, and but it's all about what director needs for specific.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, actually someone said very much about the same things that I think. To be honest, for me this conversation is always ongoing, and if you know what you want to do as a director, I'm not a director, but I like directors who know what they want.
Thank you.
If you know what you want to do and you know how to do it, you don't basically give a shit about the skill set, what the person has or what he has done or she has done. At least that's how I feel. If I cast something, I do casting sometimes. So it's like, I think it's a waste of energy. Not saying that what you're talking about is a waste of energy, but I think we spend too much energy on that subject and the constant things.
What was the subject actually?
The fact that what is the skill set needed, what is the education. I mean, everything is important, of course, but you need to know what you want and you need to know what you're looking for from the performer.
I get you. Niklas, before you, just try to kind of make a kind of put something together before I give the word to you. What I can see a situation here, generation shift. Of course, this is a simplification, but the old kind of the traditional way of looking at stage art is that we have these kind of different genres like sport branches, and you kind of compete within your branch to get better within your branch. Like 5 kilometers running, you can run the fastest. You can train 5 kilometers running. And then we have the young generation that don't think in branches, but they think in something else. Of course, this is relevant only because we at the same time see that the young generations are not very interested in this kind of sport branch thinking stage art. They are going for something else. So then we have the dilemma: can we develop or help the stage art to develop in a way for the upcoming generations to feel that it will be interesting? And then, of course, the question is: can we develop 5 kilometers running from inside to be something else?
Running
five kilometers running. I mean, can we renew these branch thinking, genre-wise stage art phenomenons from inside without losing kind of the core of what it is? Can we lose 5 kilometers running into 6 kilometers running without losing the 5 kilometers running? Whatever. This is kind of, we can continue from this later, possibly, but now it's your turn.
Are you in the Elisa minus?
Yes,
I will get your autograph later. No joke.
Picture, Twitter.
Yeah, I will go back.
Who gets paid for this? You or you?
No.
He's going worldwide.
And where is the skill here?
That's all a joke. He's famous. Come on. I just wanted to go back a little and tell you about how I work. Now we have been talking about tools. We have been talking about acting and singing and dancing. But now I think we have to move slightly in an overall direction.
Tell us.
What?
Tell us.
No, I'm just försöka hitta nya infallsvinklar.
Okay.
I remember when I started with musicals back in the late 80s and in the 90s. I remember at that point that, for example, Svenska Teater and the Swedish theater, they wanted to have some new energy into the old Baroque theater. So if I count my days as a professional theater producer, I think I started back in 94 when we did Hype, the musical, who became one of the biggest blockbusters, that's a very dangerous word, but blockbusters in Finnish youth music history. I have never produced a regular or a traditional musical like Les Miserables or Sound of Music, and actually I don't know why. I think my thing was to come up with new concepts, with new stuff, and I'm still there. I might do something in the future, but I think it's very nice to come up with completely new material. And my first question, usually when I start a project, or if someone asks me to be part of a project, is where do we want to be in the end of the day? I mean, there are so many different ways to produce theater, there are so many different ways to perform, and I think every way is the right way. And I have been chosen like pop music and musical theater because that's something I'm good at. But I also love other music and everything. And the first thing is usually someone has a vision and we have to go with that. And I feel that I'm quite artistic in many ways, but normally there are people that are more artistic than me. But I know a little of music, I know a little of everything in the culture field, so that's probably why I'm still alive and in the business. Normally when we have auditions, we have the same problem every time. We can find good singers, or we can find good dancers, or good actors, but we never find the combination. Never. And I also think that's why sometimes the national scene, at least here on the coastline, Åbo and Helsinki, they take also people from Sweden and from Norway and from other countries.
The Swedish theater.
Yeah. And I don't know, if someone asked me, hey, do you know a good musical tenor? I say, no. I know people who are quite good, but I don't have a first call. And I think that's also one of the problems that we are talking about here, that do we have enough good people in Finland who can do a little of everything? My answer is no. So, if I do a musical, my first priority is that we need to have very good singers, because it's the musical, the whole thing is I think it's been told through the music and through a good singer. And the worst thing is if you have good music and then you have a singer who can't sing. And we have seen and we have heard that problem so many times. Talking about art, I said in the beginning, I think it's very important that you are open-minded. I mean, people are very afraid of the word commercial. People are very afraid of the word entertainment. It has to be artistic. And everything is okay with me. All the stars must shine. Then we can also point out, do we do art for the art? Or do we do art for the people? Or do we do, I think that's something we can talk about soon.
We do.
We do. The problem is always the money. And one good thing, of course, for us who works here around the coastline is that we have the Svenska Kulturfonden, who usually normally get us some understöd. And that's good. And I think it's very important that we find a balance in everything. The balance is the key word in my life. What I do, how I feel, how my kids are doing. Everything is up to a balance. I think also when you're producing, when you are doing art, it's the balance in everything. It's the balance between singing and performing and acting and dancing. It's the balance. And if you do a musical who's written mostly for music, then maybe we could have better singers. And then we have a more musical drama, then we should probably have better actors. So, låt alla blommor blomma.
Okay. You mentioned the word money, and we come back to that surely. But since Johanna said that your keynote is connected to
there might be some connections, about all the flowers. Yes. So, so I have not. I arrived today, so I have not seen the showcase. I will see it tomorrow. So I'm talking more in relation to, I guess, what I see of Finnish musical theater or musicals right now. The title that I thought of is "Oh to be able to think out of the box," and more specifically, "Oh to be able to think out of the jukebox." The jukebox is something that keeps coming into my mind. We of course all know that it's easily accessible. We know what we get. We give the jukebox our money, and then we get the satisfaction. Jukebox. Yeah. And we're not surprised. We're not going to be surprised, and we're not going to be disappointed. And we are doing it collectively, usually, unless you own a jukebox. But we're not listening it to privately. We are listening to it collectively, and we are always satisfied. And I would like to sort of compare this satisfaction to this kind of a sugar rush or a sugar surge. I like sugar very much, but so it's not a negative thing, but it's a limited thing. It means that we are satisfied, but we are never off guard. We are never surprised. We are never challenged in the same way or in a different way. And of course, this in relation to a lot of the. I absolutely agree that all the flowers should bloom, but there is something going on when so much of the programming is based on this nostalgia. I use the word nostalgia because it's the jukebox image. It's very hard to beat the pleasure that you get from nostalgia because it's so strong, and all of us carry it. And when people are expecting a cupcake and then you give them sushi, they will spit it out because they think it's a very flawed cupcake instead of being something else. I don't mean to sound like I'm talking sort of in a condescending way. I'm not talking about the audience only, I'm talking about also artists and funders and producers and critics and la-di-da-di-da, I do think that it's it is problematic that we don't have terms for these terms that are sort of, you were talking about the boxes earlier. This is simplifying, of course, and to simplify a little bit more, to look at the other extreme, if on the other extreme there is this sort of sugar rush, then on the other extreme, and I'm now quoting the late screenwriter Anthony Minghella, who used this image of spinach, spinach in art, which means that it's very good for you, but it's not no fun. So he was talking about how he wants to sort of change the world, but he doesn't want to have it appear as spinach. That it must be pleasurable also. And by this I mean something which you know that you should maybe be interested in. It's the right thing to do. It's the cultured thing to do. But actually, deep down inside, you are craving for maybe not the cupcake, but at least something else than the spinach. So this is the other extreme, I think. And I'm talking about, of course, the spectrum of sort of popularity, also in musical theater. How do we beat? How do we sort of? How can we compete with this nostalgia without bringing out the spinach? Of course, this is very subjective. Obviously, it's opinionated, and I'm talking sort of via negativa through what I don't want. But I'm sure in the middle there is, and there is absolutely the middle, the sort of art which offers both the pleasure and the excitement. And I mean genuine. I don't mean that it has to be somehow easy, but I mean that it has to be genuinely. You have to genuinely sort of feel it. As you were talking, that the audience actually is the last one who makes this judgment, that it's not just some kind of intellectual exercise which you're trying to kind of get through so that you can then congratulate yourself, but that it really is something that turns you on. And I'm hoping that this showcase is one of these sort of manifestations of something which is. I, as an audience member, like to be taken somewhere where I haven't been before. I also, of course, like to feel that something hits home, that it's not completely alien, that I can relate to it. But I want to believe that this balance is possible. And of course, these are not new ideas. They are being worked on, and they have been worked on for a long time already. But I do think it's important, as you were saying about the comparison to New Circus. I don't think it's insignificant what we are calling things, because if you come expecting something and you don't find that, then, like I said about the food metaphor, and the other thing is, I think we should give more space to composers. I'm a little bit disappointed to see that so much of the material that gets done is based on this nostalgia, based on recycling, or okay, that's a loaded term, but this sort of medley thinking, at least, maybe not in opera, but at least in theater. We have such great composers, we need to give them more space. We need, well, here it is, but more money, more time, more appreciation. We cannot exist without them. And the third one, and I always talk about this, is the risk, the element of risk. We cannot, if we are always saying how we are sort of at the mercy of the market, then we should just stop and do something else. If we can't do something that we're really passionate about, then we should stop altogether and do something useful. That's it.
Oh, okay, good. You?
I find this discussion somehow really confusing, because I think we are talking, everyone comes from a quite different background, I can see. I came here quite surprisingly, so I didn't really know what's happening here, but I have made music theater myself. What I think is music theater, new music theater, and I think that we have kind of different things, we are thinking of different things now. There are a lot of people here, I can see, that come from the musical scene, which I don't see at all that this is new music theatre, because it's already a genre that is musical. That's not that I want to say that. I somehow also I can see why you are here, but it's somehow I find that, and I don't want to. It's I think a completely different genre. Also, what we saw the performances, and you could talk about your own things that are really important, but they don't really. It's a completely different thing. And what you also said that we are lacking composers, so I'm a little bit surprised that there is no composer, for example, here, or no musician, because in my opinion, where I come from,
I didn't say we're lacking composers. I said we should give them more space.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
But clearly we are lacking composers.
Yes.
So we are two composers in front of you.
Yes, I know, but now talking because
this is reserved for all parts here.
Yeah.
The new music theatre might also need always a director, but it needs the concept, and the composer can be the one who has the concept. And also the concept can be that there's only, for example, a guitar player. There doesn't have to be any dancer, any singer, any actor. And still that can be. So that's why I'm like always, we're only talking about we have to sing and dance and act. But most of you who are here and who I talk to, you are not dancers and actors and singers. There are a lot of instrumentalists. And what I also see, well, I am a singer, but what I see as music theatre, the new music theatre, is that it doesn't need this, what you thought before, that has to be opera, where the singer is like
please add the new technique.
And
also the new technique.
Yes. But
Technology,
yes. Yes. But it can be so a big variety about what is, and only the one who is making the piece, he says what we need. I think we have been talking about this now. But that's why I just find it confusing here to listen that we are all also, of course, I'm fixed in my view, but I thought when I came here that this is new music theatre.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
I'm really sorry about your confusion, and it is a confusing matter. I mean, anything new is confusing. We don't know what it is. And that's an old show from '80s. But when I
hey, I want to just put here. Les Miserables. Can Les Miserables be a new music theatre?
It can be turned into a new. It can be turned into a new version, but as a show itself, it will never change because that's how it was written. You can't change the music, but that's not what I want to say now. Is that if I write a musical tomorrow, it will be a new music theatre because it's under music theatre. So that's why we are here as well, because musical theatre cannot be ignored as part of a new music theatre. And music theatre, this can be music theatre. This can be music. And to someone it is the biggest...
Can that be musical?
Well, if you make it a musical. I mean, if someone could see it as a musical for 2 hours dropping a pen. And someone is like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But to someone, it's lacking a story. To someone, it's giving a story. The pen had so much trouble and suffering, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is very crucial. I think it's a very good example. I mean, really. I mean, but my question is: Can this be new opera? Can it be new musical? And we are here back in the kind of box thinking.
Here I agree with what Heikki said. That I feel that sometimes we are just throwing out our resources about discussing about this because it doesn't matter what it is, but it is a piece of art. What happens, and if someone, a director or a choreographer or a composer or whoever wants to create that piece of theater or music theater or whatever he wants to call it, then it's acceptable as a piece of art. And we don't need to, then we are putting things into boxes if we say that that's music theater, that's new music theater, or that is not musical theater. I think it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Let him speak first. This
I
has been.
comment just, I think the temptation is huge to erase all boundaries between every genre here and say that, well, anything goes and we can have anything within this bill. But then on the other hand, if you're going to discuss music theatre, you probably need to define what in theatre and call, well, I find it so musical, the experience of hearing your beautiful language. And somebody else can just like sit there with the guitar and ask me, well, is there a difference between this man with his guitar and like an ordinary concert, for instance, then? And then if you compare to concert, or then you place the man with the guitar in a gallery, you ask, well, is it this contemporary art and installation and all that kind of stuff? So is it necessary somehow to at least define some kind of borders and say to what extent you're going outside of the box then?
Okay, good question. I think we very much turn around that in different ways all the time. So there's no definite answer. That's a kind of the thing we actually are discussing. But
actually, I was on the same level. I would like to ask you, what is new music theatre for you?
Well, that's not a question to answer. But
yes, because you speak about the new music theatre as something which is very important for you. Then you know what you mean with that.
Well, if I can answer in a different, well, I come from the musical background, so I think always the background is a lot what somehow drives us. I have sometimes thought, I have seen a dance piece, for example, where I was thinking that actually a composer who I work with, he could write the same piece somehow, but he comes from a different, like I as a musician and the dancer, we could end up at the same performance, but our background and our way to that is very different. I don't know if this now answers the question, but for my example, because I am used to work with composers and the music is what I have studied, that's where I start. So there is something written in the score. I have a score, for example, but the score can be very varied. There can be notes and text what I use, or then there can be only an instruction, or there can be a picture. But yes, but what I see as new music theatre is that this also all these things can happen. That there's no conventional thing like. I might be really now thinking black and white about. I'm sorry that I always talk about the musical this way, but I have always the feeling that new music theatre is more varied than what I think as musical, which has maybe a plot, maybe not, but somehow it's. And a new music theatre is more like it can be whatever like comes out of it.
Thank you so much. I mean, I agree with the description of what you search. I wouldn't agree with the description of musicals. And that's somehow a very big problem in the moment we speak about musicals. Yes. That we try to put it in one box, and in reality it's everything from drama with one song inside.
I will ask
just a moment. To the opera, which includes a lot of beautiful melodies. And just for your knowledge, I read somewhere that in a month they write 8,000 new musicals in the world. In a month. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, Dick has, but after Dick's comment, I would like to hear from you.
Yes.
You say musical is everything. I would like to.
I didn't say that. I said that it's in between.
Okay,
actor,
but I mean, the answer, the question I will put you to be answered later is, what is not musical?
I can answer that.
Okay,
too.
but Dick was first.
But Dick is important.
I think one simple, important question is about this. Somebody said from by whom to who. Now we are a little bit in this commercial thoughts. If I be provocated, I would say culture is done for the people, art is doing for yourself, together with other artists.
That's pretty provocative.
And that's of hardcore, yes. But I think there is some idea to discuss how to build the circumstances to be free of not serving an order for result made by somebody else. You see what I mean? I think you can't avoid this question. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. What have your circumstances been when you know that the money came from the Kulturfonden and all the context, the circumstances are arranged, and that makes you free to create. But in the commercial business, you have somebody put in an order, and if it's good, it gathered so and so many thousand in the ticket box and so many spectators. And this is, I think, it's as important as this old new stuff, because it's about the context, the circumstance.
Okay, Håkan, Johanna, then I want to comment after that.
Okay, I'm trying to make it clear. All of you have spoken. It's the kind of person who inside the organization to produce opera theater. Anybody right now? The kind of novice in the position as a public. Nearly seen 3 opera and 1 musical live and so on. So I think it's a lack of perspective from the audience, and I think if the developing of this kind of theater, or what we are ever call it, it should be that I think it could be the relationship between the public or the audience or the performers, because Wilhelm was pronouncing it like we should be the institution. So that, I think, is a core problem for this kind of theater, or what we are calling it. I myself is a stage designer and costume designer. I work a lot with experimenting with the relationship to the audience to create some kind of interaction and so on. So I think that's could be a quite interesting place to be in, to explore the possibilities to make some kind of view. I don't want to point out some direction, but I think the relationship to the audience is a quite big issue for me.
Sure.
So,
okay, thank you.
No. Sometimes I think the word new is because it is so hard to define. In my own head, I like to use fresh, even though, of course, that's also subjective. But because it something which is in the canon can also be fresh. For instance, it's not so easy to define what is new. If you think of, I don't know, Philip Glass's Einstein on the Beach, when they did it the first time, I believe they scratched the money together from their own belongings, and now it's sort of this part of the canon, and if it gets produced, usually it would be sort of a part of a bigger machinery. So, and of course there are lots of examples of something which was new at the time. Is it still new, or it was radical? Does it mean that it's not radical anymore, and when does it stop being radical? I think there's a little bit of the tendency to try to invent the wheel again also. There are a lot of things that have been done, of course, but I'm not saying it's not a worthwhile quest. It has to be, and it should be, but there are a lot of I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this dichotomy of this traditional and non-traditional, but of course it's not that clear. I mean, as you were saying, there's a whole variety of in opera as well.
Right. Right. Okay. Let me first ask: is there somebody who has not given the keynote speech yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me also.
You also. So we need just to you also. So we have 3 keynote speech yet to have. I still, before we take them now, I would like to kind of turn this discussion a bit more. I don't know what, but what we have been spoken of now and then is of course money, and it's useless to deny that when you speak of art, we speak also about resources, And also, I mean, it's a fact that we who sit here, we are quite good burners of money.
Not me.
Not you, no. But not now. But you have also, let's say, you have gone
yes,
through.
If I think it's my company.
Yeah. But right. I mean,
I think it's very important.
You're right. We come back to that. But I mean, the education of artists is very expensive, and you have had that also. There are actually basically no commercial art in this small market, not even a kind of hype thing. It got very much kind of support, and it can come close to something like a break even, and or even made some money. But
break even.
Yeah, right. So when we do something, we burn money, right? Basically, this also is a hugely expensive joy that we have here, and good that it is. But then, of course, the question comes, and it turns into more an ethical question: for whom do we art? For whom do we work? Is it art for art, or is it art for something else? And what would that something else then be? Opera. I know that the opera in Finland, every single performance costs 179,000 euros. It's a huge amount of money for one performance. And I mean, for example, and then tennis theatre costs much less, but also the audience is smaller. So when you speak of money and you speak of for whom, we also come into this political aspect, because I mean, even if you're not supposed to say it, opera is for more wealthy people, often right-wing politically. Speech theatre is traditionally for more left-wing, kind of more let's say progressively thinking people. Musical is something also, but there is also kind of clearly kind of political, social aspect of who is interested in what. And then to come back to this situation here, we have this generation thing. We are in school. We are speaking about new music theatre. We have been kind of engaging young people into this kind of thinking of music theatre. And that's of course because we think that it's important to kind of pass on the knowledge, the skill, the best practice, the interest, the kind of competence of reading music theatre to younger generation. As we are in a situation where most theatre institutions, at least in this country, I think below also Sweden and many other places, lack young audiences. So this is something we shouldn't forget. There is an ethical, political, economical aspect of what we do that also, I would say, should somehow steer our actions. Okay, this is just kind of a bit in between. And we can take short comments to this, but then I want to go on with the keynote speeches.
Yeah, short comment, because I think that in the moment we're talking about what is new in music theatre, but in the moment we can define it, it's probably quite old. I don't know what is new music theatre, but I think this is the key problem. And that's why I'm talking about the kidnapped art. I think the new music theatre, new music, new art is not a question of, it is a sociological solution to it. It has to change in a sociological way, the way we perform, where we perform, to whom we direct ourselves, how we consider what is a piece of art. Is that maybe that's quite an old phenomenon. We are producing performances, and we have a critique in the newspapers, and it's taken away after 8 performances. It is crazy, and it's the same people that goes there. I think change, new. It's not what we do, but how we do it, and to whom we present it, and find new ways to react with the society. I mean, we are facing poverty, we are facing
immigration.
Yeah, immigration and environment problems, and we are not part of it. That's I think art has to be a part of it. As if you look at industry, for instance, I mean, there are they're talking about social entrepreneurship. There's a guy called Toms. he was working in Africa. He was facing a lot of, because of poverty, people couldn't afford to buy shoes. And then he started a shoe company. For each shoe that he sells, he will donate a pair of shoes to poor people. So it's a kind of way of using to earn money, but at the same time take care of the world, do something important. So, and I think that's for art. We cannot get all this money. We cannot produce our things, getting subsidized and do those things. We have to do something for the world, for people, in a real way. That's I don't know how. I haven't really tried that. I think I tried when I was young, and then I was like kidnapped, like most of us. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the future of art is the way we communicate it, and way we present it, and how we present it, and how we, as artists, behave.
Okay, thank you. I'll stop here to have time for the keynote speeches. Who will be first?
She'd like to speak first?
Yeah. I would like to speak because there's a lot of things what we are now talking. I wrote something, I wrote it in Finnish, but I tried to translate it because in the list of the panel there were so many questions about what should we talk about now and so on. I wrote something from the personal point of view. Yes. What I'm looking for in theater and music theater also, as a performer or as an artist and as a member of audience, is something that I'm touched by something. The performance can touch intellectually, it can touch emotionally, it can touch politically, it can touch ethically. Maybe sometimes it can touch in all levels, not very often. But I think that's the most difficult thing to build up. How to create some kind of space between performance and the performers and the audience, that we would breathe together, and there would be some kind of like a fearless atmosphere, that we should understand what we should talk today, now when we are here in this place, because we are in present moment and the theater is happening all in present moment. So it's now. So that's why we can make a definition of we can choose what we are talking today. We can say what is music theater for us, and all kind of voices what are included. I would like to see on stage human beings and humanity in its all shapes, in its all forms, in its all voices, in its all genders, all kind of social classes, all kind of races, different kind of bodies, different kind of voices, maybe voices which are not perfect only, voices which are broken, imperfect, people who are human beings who are doing mistakes, who are weak, who are loving, who are hating. I would like to see more of this. I think we have a responsibility as artists, whose stories we are telling and from which point of view, because we are making history, and we are also choosing history, what kind of stories we are built up. Also, I think in music-wise it's something, what kind of music we are repeating, I mean what kind of aesthetics we are repeating, that's coming more stronger. It's natural that we are making the choice. And that's why I think we are also building some kind of audience. We can offer a lot of things, and we have the responsibility of diversity somehow. Also, especially now in Finland, I don't know how, maybe it's different in Sweden, but it would be great to see performances which don't have a final truth of something, because we are living in a world that there's so multi-truth going on. I mean that we cannot anymore say that there exists one truth, and also we are living already in a multicultural society. We don't need to go abroad to get it here, which is one of my points, because when I started, I'm coming from the academic side of gender studies and the University of the Literature and the Music and the theater. But my formation is actress. I understood something that, I lost my thoughts. What did I understood?
You said that you don't have to go abroad to see
Yes,
Musikal.
that I made a mistake because one way I made a mistake, which was gift also, that I created immediately own company, which was quite, we also wrote it in the news, everywhere, that we are making new music theatre. Then after 2 years we were really fed up to use the new word, because I think we were a bit like embarrassed that no, it's not new, everything has done already. So we make it, we put it like it's ambitious music theatre. No, it's not ambitious, it's original music theatre, it's our own music theatre. So I think what I didn't do, what I would like the courage to do, is to really well study the traditions. I mean, also the Finnish tradition in music and also Finnish tradition in theatre, because I think we are not so much consciousness of what are our own tradition. I think it's wonderful that we are so international, we are moving, we are living in different countries, everything happening in so many places at the same time, but we are missing also the roots and the knowledge of the own heritage. And I think I'm more and more interested in that, and I think it's nothing to do that I can still keep going to be open for the world. And I need to say also that I'm working also in classical theatre and commercial. I have been doing also commercials and so on, and also commercial music theatre. So I don't want to say that that's something like it's a sin to do it or something. And also I've been touched by the Anglo-American musical when I was in New York. I thought I really understood everything what's happening on stage when I was there, because it was so much linked to that culture. But I don't understand why to bring that thing exactly here and repeat it here. I don't find the sense in it. Yes, I would like to hear more weak voices in music theatre, because the weak signals are more interesting than sometimes the strong, massive experiences of something that we want to go and we want to be enlightened by something. Yes, and the ethics are important. I think they're really important for actor and actress, but I think one of the ethics are this listening, what I've been also a lot of thinking yesterday. I want to thank all of you who made your performance, because you are really brave that you are doing it, and I was really happy to follow the conversation, the dialogue after that, because there was really dialogue going on. And I noticed also the dialogue took quite a lot of time, like here. When we started like 1 hour ago, we were lost, and little by little we are building the unity or connection. So, and I think it's a lot to do with the listening, how you are listening. It's really how you're listening to music also, because that's something what music theatre makers are really good. We could be that we have ears which are open. We want to learn to listen. And in this kind of society where we are living now, I think we need more and more skill of listening. This was mine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yes, a human voice. Okay, shall we?
There's a new generation who
was snoring earlier.
I think,
but she likes music.
I think she looks the best possible film.
Yes.
Taking place in her own head.
They were singing a duet with Annika.
There's somebody who
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, what do you mean with a weak voice?
It's not my own term. It's not my own vocabulary. Finally, I don't remember who has said it first, but I read that it can be something that it's not so solid. It can be concretely voices, music which is not so solid, which is not so. It can be broken voices. It can be.
It's not like singing out of tune.
It can be also that.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? I don't say it should not be that.
Okay, good.
Should make my keynote?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
About
Please.
time.
Oh, you can.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I do it. Yeah. I'm educated theater director, and for many years ago, my idea of theater was to do something nobody has done before, to do experiments on stage. 2 chairs is the maximum of it, 1 stand, it's a maximum of it, because that is giving me the possibility to do something totally new. So I was absolutely looking for finding new things, together with the people naturally I worked with and inside of myself. At one point, I have been asked by Svenska Teater to do a musical, which I didn't know what it was. I have maybe seen 1 musical before in my life. It was totally alien for me. Just before I begin with that project, I was going to New York. And I met a man called Joseph Papp. Joseph Papp is a legend in the States. He is the founder of the Public Theater, one of the most interesting theaters in the world. He has started Shakespeare in the Park. He has founded a lot of musicals like Hair, 42nd Street, etc. And I had the possibility to speak with him, so I said to him, listen, they asked me to do a musical. I don't know really what it is, and I don't know how you do musicals. And he told me, listen, you find your own way. What's important is that you love theater, that you love music, and you love dancing. If you love these things, and honestly love it, then you will find a way of being a creative person. Since that, I have done about 85 of it, including the big commercial ones, Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, etc. But I have done a lot of theater too. And in the moment I hear somebody speaking about new things, I'm always thinking about, do I do new things? Do I reproduce myself? Can I do something which is really, it matters? And my answer to myself, because otherwise I couldn't work, is yes. In the moment I'm staging something, in the moment I try to go inside of the material, and the most important part, I tell a story to people. That must be something new. The way of doing, the way of getting the cast to be together, the way of making them understand how important the story is, the way of telling the story. And naturally, you need skills. And naturally, you need people around you who can do that. But the new for me is, in the moment I work with the material, whatever it is, if it's one actor, or it's only a song with guitar, in the moment you stage it on the stage as a director, for me it's something totally new. The most important part of it is that I'm burning to tell the story. I'm burning that people should look at it, and I'm confident that maybe somehow it will move them. That brings us to the big productions, international productions, money productions. Yes, they exist. Why we play them? Yeah, we play them because they are played all over the world, and for some theaters it's important to make money, and they believe that it's an entrance to do Christina from Duvemola. They believed that's an entrance to come inside, to get an audience which will come back. And that's naturally a very difficult question. But however, they believe that. And also they believe that the material as such is important for the people who are sitting there. And I don't mind that at all. what I mind is if they copy something which has been done in England or in the States, if they do it exactly in the same way, because then I don't understand what art is. And that's my problem somehow, that many of the productions which are done, doesn't matter if they are experimental, doesn't matter if they are done with one guitar, they don't tell anybody anything. It's inside, and people believe that it's fantastic because they feel a lot, but nobody else feels anything. And that's somehow, I think, the point of new. New is, for me, something you do in a totally new way from your own possibilities, and give it to people, and hopefully they will get it from you. That's my 5 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, shall we go on now? So to leave some minutes for a kind of conclusion and discussion.
Yeah, I try a little bit to reflect and then also
that's good.
think about what could be new. I think we are a little bit stuck in definition, because what is music theater and what is musical and so on. So for me, I have an answer that I always say: it's live. That is a very simple answer, in a way that there is somebody and something happens in the moment. Because we have movie, we have 3D, we have games, and also these different new genres where we would say, okay, it's not live, because you can repeat and play the repeat button, and then it's exactly the same. In theater, it's not possible, and until now, maybe it will be. I don't know. And I was talking about concept, and I think that in the moment there is a proof of the concept in terms of there is somebody watching it, and having a reflection doesn't mean the person has to like it or dislike, at least some perception or reflection or reception. So this is my term for music or theater at all. In the moment we talk about music theater, okay, there is one important ingredient, that's music or sound or even noise. So because when we watch history, 70s, we had a lot of experiments with noise, with pieces going on for 400 years, the running Cage and Kagel and Feldman and all these, and so these are very conceptual pieces, and so I feel a little bit, okay, this discussion happened already in the 40s and in the 20s, and maybe before as well, I don't know, but I know from the 20s exactly, I know from the 40s, and I know from the 60s and the 70s and the 90s, and I wonder when I moved from that side to that side. So it's a repeating conflict, how to determine, how to give a definition of what we are doing. And the good news is, I think it's not necessary anymore. So because this is, for me, it's done. But we have the hard facts. The hard facts is in Berlin, I can talk about Germany, we have, when I do an application, we have the department dance and the department music theater, where musical might be included or not. It's depending on the institution. So even there we don't have definition what is agreed by all, and we have acting and so on. Sometimes when I do get funding, I get the funding from the music theater when I do a dance piece, because simply there was more money. Yeah, so then you have to shift the money from there to there. So even there in the institutions it's a big problem about definition. So I would hope that we can get rid of all this and say, okay, it's about the open opportunity to do this application work in case you do an application, and just face reality. Reality is there is almost no dance piece without video. There's almost no opera piece without, again, technology, but dance is involved, and maybe also some toys, whatever. It's already done. It happened, and I think the institutions are way behind reality. Reality is, at least I can say in Berlin, because I have a lot of stuff to see over there, that already it shifted a lot. So that's what I mean when I see performances like Rimini. There is totally new concepts I could not imagine, and also concepts where the audience becomes the actor, and so on. So again, I would say we are already in the middle of a big movement. And to give an out view, I would say, not agreeing with you that it's only human, I would say that there's a new element coming in, that is technology, and of course you know that's our theme, so I have to talk about it. But I see it also in society, and theater as a reflection of society will make use of the stuff what is available. Talking about giving examples, totally not theater, but there is a scientists group, they developed a new heart what is running like a circular pump. So this circular pump is more efficient, and it's running already in a sheep or something, and so it soon will be implemented in some human being. We have legs, we have eye implantations. There are some artists, they put some chip underneath their skin because they say this is art, and I see a lot of intermixing of technology and humanity already. So it sounds a little bit weird, and maybe also a bit of like science fiction, but as I see it already in reality, and we were dreaming in the beginning of 90s how we can create music by thinking. So that was my start of implementing technology in dance. Because I was a dancer, I was a good translator of emotion to music. So simple example, you do a movement like this, and then it's a wavy meditation music, and this is an orchestra. So this was the beginning, and we called it human interface. Human interface was a very early idea. How can we do it? How can we make thought music available to others, to audience? And now I see a lot of ways, and our software artist, Frieder Weiss, he calls it hype cycles. So we see these hype cycles coming up and down again, and we're talking about virtual reality like 20 years ago, and I remember I was in a cage there, and it was virtual reality, not so different to the virtual reality we have today. So now it's coming up again, and of course we want to make use of it. I think a simple example of how this is changing our theater term is, for instance, when we use our quadrocopters. This is a swarm of 35 or more little machines flying in the air, and there's no human involved at all, but it creates a lot of emotion, and we think a lot about this because we want to know how it works, because it's Einstein Beach was given. I think Robert Wilson was the big master of knowing exactly where to look at. And in that case, there is no human anymore to look at, it's just the machine, but I see open mouths from kids to old. And in the moment when we do interactive installation work, where I would say it's not theater anymore, but it's creating a theater atmosphere for me. For instance, we have an installation running where an eye is watching the people passing by. So they are creating also sound in that moment. So it's all the necessary elements. There's somebody watching usually there's two people because the other one is watching what he is doing. And there is music involved, and there is technology involved. So is it already music theater? I would say no, but also yes. So it's a shifting termination for me. And just to finish this, I think there's a lot of confusing thoughts now because it's too many to bring in 5 minutes. I think the democratization of technology and also of availability of resources. Simple example, music. Everybody can do music with an iPhone now, even not bad music. It can be very complex. just with a little device. And this can be done by everybody. It doesn't say it's art already, but in the person's eye, it's maybe art. And then again, I come back to my beginning. If there's somebody else watching it and saying, yeah, that's great, it's art, then there's the concept and it's proved. So I think the definition should be much more open, because as the iPhone example, there is a device, there's somebody doing something with it, and there's somebody reflecting it. That's already for me a music theater, and it's happened live. That's the most important let's say, conclusion for me, because cinema is much more perfect as we can do, and it's good that it's that way, and we are there because we have this live moment. What in the repetition is different, and this is our big advantage, I would say, that we are having this sweat and blood and tears, and we having in addition technology where I see, okay, there's future as well, because it's already changing humanity in a very fast and very efficient way. So I wouldn't say machine takes over, but
I hope not.
It's a possibility we have to talk about. So.
Okay. Thank you. Here you have a comment.
I still haven't had my 5 minutes of fame, but I don't need 5 minutes. I can just, if I can share a couple of thoughts till the very end. This is just a short comment. It's going to be very interesting to see how the virtual reality reaches stage within music theater in the future. That's the technologist world is something to look into. I just want to share why I go to theater in the first place. I think we all share the same thing, that we want to get touched emotionally, whether it's we cry our eyes off when Elphaba flies on a broomstick and striking music goes straight to your heart, or whether it's a comedy of Molière where you just can't stop laughing, or whatever, but you get emotionally attached to a character or a story or something. And I think that's what combines all art in the first place, that we feel something, and that's what I'm looking for in music theater and in every other theater. And another thing, what I want to comment is about what you mentioned about having to choose between, if we do like a musical theater, as in commercial musical theater, for example, choose between a singer or an actor. That is something we shouldn't have to be forced to choose. That is something we should, when it comes to the future of music theater in Finland or whatever countries that produce music theater in one way or another, there should be a possibility for educating those skills that are needed into shows like what you produce and audition for, and shows like When Dropping a Pen. So I think that's just, those are things that I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Do everyone agree about this, what somebody says, that that it's about getting emotionally touched? Could it be?
I didn't say
I heard that you said, yes, that could be
emotionally, intellectually, or politically, or ethically, or whatever, also sometimes all of them.
But you reacted, you get touched.
Yeah, but I didn't say first of all emotionally.
You don't agree with that?
I'm not sure.
I might come up with something that also we in a way will conclude this. This being touch is surely a crucial point here. I mean, emotionally or not, certainly there is a moment of emotion in art which makes art. If it will be only intellectual, it's research or something.
You can talk about inspiration, it can be from...
Yeah, sure, but I mean, you can also feel something with research, but that doesn't become art because of that. But the crucial point here is that actually there's not that big difference between research and art. When we're speaking of research, we're speaking of searching. That's already a kind of grey line. And we're speaking about art, and we're speaking about non-art. I would like to bring up at the end the kind of concept of of art. I mean, we live in a world of constant change. Everything is new, always, and nothing is new, never, ever. Because the circumstances in which we live constantly change. And living and making a life and staying alive means for the individual and for the group of people, the society, adapting to these changes. And adapting to change is always very hard. It's kind of emotionally hard, it's intellectually hard, economically hard, and whatever hard ways they are. And here I think art comes in as a very important factor, because art, if you think of a company with a development department that kind of looks for developing the company, or a school with a development department, art, I think, is the development department of society. That's the place in society where we, through a very delicate mechanism of responding, of kind of interaction with each other, including critics, including audience, including applause, including whatever, including fame, also including money, different kind of prizes. Try as a group to find out the values that would and will direct us into the future. And this is why art also can cost something for the society. This is why we get paid even if we don't produce, because we have an important task to do. We will actually create prototypes. And this is, for me, the kind of crucial concept of speaking on you. We are speaking of prototypes. What we have seen here yesterday, as we'll see tomorrow, are prototypes for performances, and also prototypes for art. And prototype for thinking, actually, for a set of values. And what we are now doing here is kind of evaluating these prototypes. We are deciding if this is the way we want to go, or do we want to go another way. This is crucial. Because, I mean, we say we like it or we dislike it, we feel something, we are touched, we are not touched. And these are the kind of things that makes us decide if this is something that have values that we want to kind of have us directed towards the future truth. And yeah, I just, so therefore, I mean, when we're speaking of new, we are speaking of prototypes, and of course, again, comparing with the company. A company that suspects or demands that all prototypes will go into production. All prototypes should be commercially kind of productive. That's not a kind of development department anymore. So things are allowed to fail. This is the crucial point here. Things are allowed not to be kind of those ones that we want to have more of. And this is, I think, very important speaking on you. Whatever it's musical or whatever genre or genre-free or opera, whatever. But as long as we can, through this mechanism, we find out if this is something that we want. It's kind of motivated to do it.
So what you mean, Erkki, is that the important thing is to find these circumstances, to find this forum where you can fail.
I think as artists,
and create.
Yeah, as artists, we have the ethical task to demand that to make people understand, the people that give us the resources, that art is the development department of the society. We need to have prototypes to be able to go into the future. A company without a development department is doomed. A society without art is doomed. In the same way. Yeah.
Just a tiny note about this concept of whether you do art for yourself or for the consumer, and also on this what you're saying. I think it's also good to remember that I mean, a person who does art professionally is also a consumer, maybe not of that art form, but of other art forms. They also used to be before maybe they became professional. So I think it's a little bit artificial just to say that it's either or. My life, if I didn't have art which other people made, would be very empty. Sure. So I'm also, as a consumer, absolutely convinced that it's needed. It's not just about your own expression.
Yeah, and to add to that, education. Of course, education is important, but it's not only education of the artists. It's education of the audience. And basically, there we have the art we deserve, as we have the politics we deserve.
Yeah, just to add, why this project was done was, when we call it Musikteater, maybe it's the wrong name, but it's about, I think that you had the weak voice, Terhi, and we were speaking about money. What's bothering me is that we have so many skilled people, those we saw yesterday, and it's often the strongest voice and the most money who is making it possible to do new things, to do good things, who could touch many people. We were speaking to touch. So what I am searching for is channels for the weak voices to get to do those good things, but because now it's often the strongest voice of the richest ones. That's what I want most. So I think if we from this project could get channels where we could find these good things, who could be developed to touch as many as possible, then we should have done something very good. And I think that's the
That's what I meant about the composers, is that they are there, but they just need a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, to find the channels to be heard.
Yes.
Okay, I think the time is out. If you want to give short comments, please do it, then we round off.
You are first. Short comments.
Yeah, short comment. I think we have to talk about how to spend the money given, because we are still in a very luxury situation that we have a lot of money for music theater. It's a big question in Berlin. Do we need 3 opera houses, or do we just close one and have a lot of money for the free running artists in the city? And this is just one example, and I think it's really important to have institutions or festivals like this where people can just try out. I think there's this word rehearsal in theater, and that means Probe, something to try and error and to have a result. And with the speed we have now, this is often forgotten, that it takes time to be creative and to have the chance to try something.
I agree.
I'm sorry, I think.
No, okay, I think I was first.
Oh, sorry.
Absolutely.
Yes. I want to agree for you about this, that I would like to also encourage those who has power, who has keys for the big houses also in Finland and so on, to open the possibilities for the new generation. I don't know, does it mean always the new or younger, but something else. I would still, because the ones will soon who will be in a power, I think you are a bit more you established artist, you are plus 50 or something, more and more you start to have power, so it's your responsibility to open. And I really want to thank you, Sören, that you have opened this, and what you are doing, it's really important work, because you are really sharing and giving from your own, and this is something the more you're getting power, more you should share it, because you start to have some kind of level of life, and then it's more and more difficult to keep it from there. For the ones who doesn't have anything, which means the young who are students.
Unfortunately, I don't give much hope for the structure of the institutions like they are now. You have to be anarchistic, wrap it down the shit.
For the first, one conclusion for me is that musicals, it's a form of art, and it should be accepted like a form of art. Number 2, the theaters, private enterprise, etc., should begin to put in money in workshops. That's the way you build a national musical theater. You give the possibility to people to try out. We are far back from the States. They put in thousands and thousands of dollars to create things, and things which never reach the public, which I think it's very important. Number 3 for me is that the education for musical theater is necessary in this country.
You promised, to the end of this discussion, you promised to answer the question, what is not musical?
Yeah,
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Niklas, come first.
Yeah. I was thinking when Dick said about burn them down or what did you say? Sorry?
Wrap them.
Wrap them down.
Dick would never say
yeah,
that.
for me that's also okay. But in the future, I would like to survive as a human being. The most important thing for me in the future, if you're talking about stage entertainment, stage theater, would be that I can still, after many, many, many years, sit in the room and feel something, the meeting between me and the people on the stage. Because I mean, I think there's a challenge now in the community. You were talking about the virtual reality and everything, and I'm sometimes really concerned about people being like, all the young people at least have their mobiles every minute like this. We have to talk to each other, we have to communicate, we have to do those things. I don't think we should be like dolls under the new technology in the future. We should use it with gränser. So for me, theater in the future is still the meeting in the room, and how we do it, that's another story, I think.
I have to clarify about the institution. I mean that the money is there in the institutions. It's used in a wrong way. So changing the institution, putting dynamite in it, that means that we have to save the money, of course. But change the structure and use the money in another way.
Okay. The time is very short, soon out. So Wilhelm had a great question.
The Götterdämmerung of the institutions is a very tempting idea, but what will happen then? I think you should have a very good answer to that question before I let you tone down all the institutions.
I know politicians say the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but, and yes, the institutional field will require huge changes. I agree with you on that. But then when we spoke so much about the YouTube generation yesterday, I mean, it's a fascinating idea that all the flowers will be able to bloom and so further. But when we are in that position, then I wonder who is going to be sitting in the Svenska Kulturfonden and the other foundations and funders telling which project is going to get the money. Those are the people who have the power. Those are the people who can decide whether to make a change or not. And there will come a day when your generation will be dead and the next generation will be sitting there and deciding on the money. And
soon also dead.
Let's see.
But seriously,
the hierarchies have evaporated, or if we have them intact. Then.
But seriously, I think it's not this categorical difference between generations. I think it's not about only attitudes. It's about structures. How to change the structures. Yeah.
But how should we divide the money? I mean, then we have the possibility
maybe
that,
it's
that
a political
gets
question.
1,000 euros.
Mm-hmm. But maybe it is in the end a political question. Because these politicians, they are deciding everything still.
We are very pleased here. We got them here now.
Yeah. And we got money. No,
So
I mean the real politics, not the culture politics.
But all the new doers have to make a living in some way of what they do, from what they do.
But the money is there.
Yeah, but if we forget about Kulturfonden,
okay, I think it's time. So, if you can very short, I mean, we have been speaking about what music theory is.
I'm the prisoner, the last prisoner.
Yeah. What is not musical?
I think the border between theater, drama theater, musical and opera is today totally non-existent. And in the moment you try to put it in a box, you will fail totally. The range of doing musicals and what we call musicals today, it's totally up to the group who is doing it.
So you mean everything is musical?
I can say that, yes.
Life is musical.
Yes!
Life is everything is musical. Tomorrow from 3 onward, 12 onward, we will have 4 musicals.
And I think almost all of you are coming today way to the dinner to the second pavilion. Anna has something to tell about that. Thank you very much to the panelists. Big applause. The streamer.
Yeah.
Who for Sandberg? This streamer.
We'll meet at 6:30 here, and there will be cars taking us to the restaurant, and some of us will walk also if it's nice weather, for those who want to. And go by Cecilia before you leave, so tell her what you want to eat.
It's either fish, vegan, or meat, so tell me what you want.
3 options.
I was a little hungry, so I can't.
Thank you. Puss och kram.